So today we're ranking every single Mega in Pokemon Go and to come to Pokemon Go. Now before I start, because I know a lot of people are going to be like,
Pokédoxy, why are you ranking that there? It's so much better.
I need to break down the criteria. This tier list is basing the Megas on how good they are against their type, so they can both be a good counter but also get you Mega Boost for a raid boss. We recently made a video on this topic in which is it worth Mega Evolving a Pokemon to get extra XL candy for a raid boss, or is it better to Mega Evolve for damage? So today we're going to be taking those together and finding out what Megas are good against their own typing, so they'll both get you extra XL candy and be a good counter. First Megas we're going to throw up top is going to be Mega Mewtwo Y. Reason being is you can use Shadow Ball on a Mega Mewtwo Y and it will be a great Psychic type counter, both getting you extra XL candy and be a good counter. And same goes with Mega Mewtwo X, because that one does gain a fighting type, which means you can use Psychic type moves against a fighting type raid boss, but you're still getting the extra candy because you share a type with that Pokemon. Next up, we got to throw a couple dragon types in there because dragons do super effective to dragons. Mega Rayquaza, of course, a great dragon type, probably going to be one of the best. Same goes with Mega Garchomp and Mega Salamence. Now I'm going to put Mega Latios and Latias on the A tier just because they're not as strong as these other dragon type raid attackers. They are still great counters against themselves, so they will go into the A tier. To get into the S tier, you need to be good against yourself, but you also need to be a good raid attacker. Okay, next X tier is going to be Mega Swampert because you can use that as a water type raid attacker against ground type Pokemon, so you'll get the extra candy since Swampert is a ground type. Also, Mega Aerodactyl is a great one because you can use rock types against flying type raid bosses, but you're also a flying type, so you get the extra candy. I will then put Lucario because Lucario, a fighting type, great against steel type Pokemon, and it is a steel type as well. So I'm going to put Alakazam in the A tier because it's kind of like a budget Mewtwo. It can obviously learn Shadow Ball to go against other Psychic type, but it's just not going to be as strong as a raid attacker as the Mewtwo. Also, I'm going to throw Gengar in the S tier because Mega Gengar is super strong Mega, and you can use it Ghost versus Ghost, kind of like the dragon. Now Mega Venusaur is going to go into the A tier because it is a poison type raid attacker, which means you can use poison on the grass type raid bosses, still get an extra XL candy, like against Tapu Bulu, for example. Now let's throw some ones in D tier. Obviously, any single type Megas are just not going to be great unless they're dragon or ghost types. So Dark, obviously, like you're not using a Mega Absol against a Dark type. I believe Audino is only a normal type. Oh, it actually gets the Fairy typing, interesting, but still, probably going to be trash. You're not using Fairy versus Fairy. Mega Aggron, only a Steel type Pokemon, loses the Rock typing, which puts it into the D tier because you're not using Steel versus Steel. Mega Medicham will actually go into the A tier. Again, kind of like a budget version of Mega Mewtwo X. It's a fighting and psychic type, so you can obviously use the psychics versus the fightings, but it's not the strongest raid attacker. Now, Primal Groudon actually go into the S tier because it gains the fire typing, which means you can obviously use it as a ground type raid attacker against other fire type raid bosses while still getting the Mega Boost. However, Primal Kyogre gonna go into the D tier because it obviously does not learn any moves that can counter water type Pokemon. Now I'm just gonna throw a couple more dragon types in here. Charizard will go into the C tier because it is good against itself, dragon versus dragon, but it's just not very strong. Same goes Mega Ampharos. Again, it is a part dragon, so you can use a dragon versus dragon, but it's just not very strong as a dragon type raid attacker, and you can't really use electric versus electric. Honestly, C tier Mega Sableye, reason being is it's just not a very strong raid attacker. I think Mega Sableye is gonna have a max CP of like 2,200, which is like literally nothing, so it's not gonna be good, but we'll put Mega Banette in the A tier because it is a ghost type, so you can use Ghost versus Ghost, still get the Mega Boost, but obviously not as strong as Mega Gengar. Mega Lopunny, I actually like this one. I'm gonna put it in the, I think we have to put it in the C tier because you can use fighting moves on Mega Lopunny versus a normal type raid boss and still get the extra candy because it's Mega Lopunny, but it's just not very strong at all. Mega Manectric, I'm gonna throw in the D tier being a single type Pokemon, electric versus electric, you're not doing anything with that. Mega Mawile, I'm gonna throw it into the A tier because you can use steel type moves against fairy type Pokemon, and it is a steel and fairy type Pokemon. Not the strongest, I don't believe it's gonna be in terms of raid attacking. Mawile's not a super strong Pokemon for raids, but still A tier. Mega Camerupt's gonna go into the A tier as well. It's kind of like a budget version of Primal Groudon, again, fire ground type, so you can use the ground types against the fire type Pokemon. Altaria, I'm gonna throw into C tier because again, same instance as the Mega Charizard, you can use dragon versus dragon. Mega Sceptile into the D tier because it's a pure grass Pokemon. Mega Abomasnow will go into the C tier because you can use ice versus grass type raid bosses, and you are part grass type, but it's not the strongest raid attacker. That's why it's going into the C tier. Mega Blasters as well, D tier, not going to be very useful. Mega Gallade will go into the A tier because again, it's like a budget version of Mega Mewtwo X. It's kind of like in the same boat as Medicham, but Medicham, honestly, Mega Gallade's probably better than Mega Medicham. Maybe Medicham should drop down to C tier. We'll leave it like that, but they're pretty much all the same. Mega Steelix gonna go into the C tier because you can use the ground type moves on a Mega Steelix against a steel type raid boss, but it's just not very strong at all, so it's gonna go into the C tier. Mega Glalie being pure ice will go into the D tier as well. You can't really use an ice type versus an ice type as a raid attacker. Mega Pidgeot as well into the D tier. Not really gonna use flying versus a flying type raid boss. And the normal type is just kind of useless there. And honestly, most of these here left on the list, I think they're kind of useless. I'm trying to think of scenarios in which they're gonna be useful against each other, but not great. I'm thinking Diancie could go into the C tier because it is a rock and fairy type Pokemon, so it could be good against Terrakion. Metagross as well will go into the C tier just because you can use Earthquake on Metagross against steel type raid bosses, still do decent. And also in theory, you could use it against something like a Mega Gardevoir, which is a psychic fairy. Mega Metagross is a psychic steel, you know, that might work out. But other than that, most of these Pokemon, they don't do well against their own types and are only really useful as raid attackers. But the problem is you don't get the extra candy. So we're gonna go ahead and probably throw all of these into the D tier because they just really don't have any use when it comes to trying to get an extra candy for a raid boss and also trying to be a good raid attacker at the same time. So yeah, that pretty much seems to be it. Again, the tier list, guys, is broken down on a Pokemon being good as a raid attacker, being a strong raid attacker, but also being able to take down Pokemon that they share a typing with so you can get an extra XL candy from them. Now, obviously, this list will not be completely perfect because there are going to be certain scenarios in which some raid bosses do shine more than others. Like, for example, you have a Mega Caesar if you're going up against something that is both weak to steel and also is a bug type Pokemon. I don't really know what that Pokemon is. If I find out, I will put it right here in my hand. Then that Pokemon will always become useful. But based off first looks, that is the tier list. Now, this tier list, of course, could become completely obsolete if Pokemon Go just fixes it and makes it so when you have a Mega Pokemon active, no matter what the type of the raid boss is, you get a boosted chance of getting XL candy. So hopefully they add that to the game. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the tier list and you want to see more of them in the future. And let me know if you would change anything on my tier list. If you don't like my tier list, let me know. I'll link below the tier list maker so you can make this list for yourself. And then tag me on Twitter @PokeDaxi. That's it, guys. Have an amazing rest of your day. Fall for tips, everyone. Peace.